Hello! So everyone has been asking me, what is Jason doing for a living? Because I always say like, no, he left his job and he started his own business. So today I decided to ask him to tell you what he's busy with. Jason, hoe kom jy werk gaan?
Listen, I was obviously working in digital for many years and in corporate, and I decided, let me get back into entrepreneurship after graduating with my post-grad. I think it was the right moment. Ek voel, dis ek oud raak. So like, let me do it while I'm still young. And I've launched a new business specifically in education.
Okay.
That's been something that I've been passionate about.
Now hold on. So first off, Jason is a
software developer.
So that's a BSc in what?
Information systems and computer science.
So, and then Jason recently went and got himself
I did my post-grad through Wits.
He did a post-grad at Wits business,
yeah.
And he graduated. So the whole family naturally thought that he wanted to climb the corporate ladder. Dis waarom 'n mens mos gaan leer. And then he called me one Thursday and said, listen, I'm resigning. And then the next morning he was resigned. And then my parents had a little bit of a meltdown, but everyone is fine now. He then moved to Cape Town, and here we are. He started this business, but this thing has been a long time coming. It's not, it might be sudden for everyone else, but I know that this has been coming for a long time. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, I'm never goed los and lopie. So you did plan this whole thing.
Yeah.
It just felt sudden because Jason, hou sy mond oor alles. Hy sê so ek gaan jou sê voor die ding gebeur. He plans things. So tell us what the business is.
So yeah, to explain what the business is, I have to explain my journey, because we just spoke about education. I studied medicine back in the day, and that was like a terrible decision in terms of studying, because it ended up with me dropping out of medicine with a lot of student debt. That's also why I had to work for 10 years before I could start my own business.
Yeah.
Because that's what ended up happening. So then I was like,
I'm going to pause you every now and then, because I know that the audiences, we never speak openly about these things. We were first generation to go to university. We had very little guidance in terms of what was available to study. When Jason went to university, I had already been failing at university for many, many years. I went and studied a BCom, and now I'm a stand-up comedian. I was in a job I hated for years, because at that time we didn't do like these, the resources weren't as easily available. You got a book to say these are the couple of careers you can do, right? Anyway, long story short, Jason went and studied medicine at UCT. For that to happen, like with many other children of our generation or in this country, there were student loans, right? And student loans for med school at that time was something to the tune of 200,000 Rand a year. That was like around it.
It was a lot.
I know.
Because it's accommodation, it's obviously, there's a lot of expenses involved with education.
Yeah, so now you're sending your kid to Cape Town to study medicine, and there's a raise fee, there's travel and accommodation, and then the course is expensive. I remember my course being very expensive. And by the way, that was then, I think it was like around 150 to 200,000 Rand a year to study medicine in Cape Town and be on raise. In 2000 and what were you at class?
2007 to 2000.
I 15 years terug.
It's a long time ago.
So today that number must be very high. But anyway, continue.
Very expensive. It was one of the things that like actually defined me for a long time, was this mistake that I'd made in retrospect about going and studying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And then ending up in so much student debt that I had to work like endlessly to try and pay it back, just to get back on my feet. Just to get back to zero was this massive fight. So that's the thing that I'm doing now, is like I'm trying to help kids not make that same mistake that I made.
Not just kids, but parents too. Parents are sitting at home. My parents, my mother's a teacher, my father's a shopkeeper. They did the best they could. But they didn't that time no one knew. Like, it wasn't just my family, all my friends, they went and studied and failed. There were a few people that got lucky and studied the right thing, but we didn't go to career assessments. We sort of studied what you saw in your environment. There was, like, in our town, it was a warden, police officer. We knew a doctor because my uncle was a doctor. Lawyers I didn't know, but it was...
And lots of teachers.
And then teachers.
Yeah.
Obviously...
We were raised by teachers.
We were raised by teachers. Bless my mother's heart. She was the one that went, listen, these children need a tertiary education. But then we started from scratch because we were first generation. There was no real guidance. Kids are now very lucky because family members and nephews and nieces now can call us and go, hey man, what's the pitfalls? But at the time, and it was like you put a lot of money down for this stuff and your parents didn't know, but they just wanted the better for you, and the thing to do was to go and study. But you didn't even know that was what you were supposed to study. Jason studied medicine for 3 years. And then from childhood, from when Jason was a kid in primary school, couldn't drag him away from a computer. Loved it. Programmed little things. Jason was Entrepreneur of the Year for a bank. A bank chose Junior Entrepreneur of the Year when he was 18 because of a web page he built that was like a search engine that was revolutionary at the time, and then still went and studied medicine.
Yeah.
Because the money would be better, right? And the parent, everyone's proud, hey, a doctor on this. And then the child just hated it.
Yeah, man, I wish there was better guidance. But you listen, we were all a product of our environments and the time we lived in. But I think that there's more information available now and resource available. And that's what we do. That's the mission that I'm on, is to try and get tools in front of parents and people that are currently working as well. There's a lot of people, friends of ours, that also hated what they studied, but they ended up completing their degrees. You're one of those people, actually.
Yeah.
End up in the job.
Yeah.
Then. That's even worse, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't drop out. You ended up graduating with that qualification that you didn't want to study.
Yeah.
Now you're stuck in that career.
Yeah.
So that's also another area, like we're trying to help those people as well pivot and change direction.
And I'll briefly say this. It has a knock-on effect in your life. You study and you drag yourself through this degree or diploma or course. You get into the job. And we are taught to work hard, so now you're good at that job. So now you hate the job, you drive to work every day with anxiety, you have mental health issues. I have had anxiety to the point where I would black out at work and never thought that it was because of the job. And then what happens is you buy a car, you buy a house, now you're trapped, you got debt now. So there's no room for you to experiment with other careers. You didn't study in your balance or buy a betaal. So now that becomes, now the snowball is rolling down the hill now, and it's very difficult to get yourself out of that. And then I always tell my parents now, I go, and everyone, I would do stand up for half the salary I made that I got from that job, just for the happiness, and that's the big thing.
Yeah.
And because of that, I do well. I do better, because I love my job. I always call, Temba. Temba's one of my best friends. Temba and me started our marketing internship on the same day. Temba started flying, and I could barely hold on to Temba's career path. Because Temba came to work happy, man. He loved it. And Temba just knew, he loved marketing, he just loved it. And so I always knew Temba was going to be if I stay here, Temba's going to be my boss one day. And I'm going to be miserable and I'm going to plateau. And that'll be that, right? That'll be the story of Alfred. And I'll be living for the weekends instead of living my life through my passion. But anyway.
So Study Start, which is the name of the business that I started. What we do is we do an interest assessment. So you sign up on the website, you go and answer 60 questions, and based on those 60 questions, we then establish, okay, this is the interest profile that you have, and these are the careers that best suit your interests and your passions.
Yeah.
And then we provide as much information as possible so that you make an informed decision. So what's your day-to-day tasks going to look like, for example? Or, what does this person do at a high level? What type of education do you need? What type of qualification do you need? Not everyone needs to go to a university. A lot of people, that don't even need a formal education. Some people should have just done vocational training, for example, carpentry, plumbing. There are people that don't need to go to university and spend all that money, and this tool allows you to make informed decisions about your interests, what's out there, what education you need in order to do that career. And also we've got a calculator that kind of estimates how much it's going to cost you to go and study that thing, which is important. Because people have kids now that are going to be in matric 5 years from now, and they don't know how expensive it is to send someone to university.
That was also a very big thing when we were growing up, is that a lot of people weren't prepared for that bill. It's shockingly expensive when you get there, and you didn't do the research. And then to send the child into the wrong direction is cruel. This is the other thing that you must discuss, is that one thing is to then know what you like to do. It will suggest those prompts to you, and then it will tell you what you can study to get where you want to be. It's not it gives you a lot of suggestions. There's no one particular place that you'll see, because a lot of these websites will push up a specific course or whatever onto you. And then the other thing is that when we were young, it's like, now you can make you can plan financially for your child, and the child can start sort of looking and shaping his ideas about what his career will be, and then he can start researching that, rather than just
guessing.
Or
like listening to someone that is so disconnected from what happens in court. Like, I mean, as you said earlier, we were raised by people like teachers or whatever, and they have the best intentions, but they haven't worked in a corporate. They don't understand what a marketing manager does.
Oof.
And now you end up studying that because someone heard that Alfred became a millionaire from being a marketing manager. And no one did it up clear.
How many times?
But it was the wrong decision for you. It wasn't right for you.
How many times did an uncle tell you, or your kid is there, or when you were a kid, where the uncle goes, where you say, "Hey buddy, what can you study for?" Then the uncle, and then you say, "No uncle, I want to study IT." Hij zei, "Nee jong, hij is hoe jij. Ja, goeie geld."
Werk met computers.
Werk met computers. Now, you get this false sense of, this sounds right, I must do this thing. But it may not be for you. I'm telling you now, get the advice. And it's not expensive. That's the other thing. That was the other thing, like these tests can be very expensive.
Yeah. They are very expensive, and we try to keep the cost as affordable as possible. So that, it's accessible to as many people as we possibly can.
So what's the company's name?
Study Start.
I'm going to link it at the bottom. Go and have a look. If your kid is about to go and study, check for yourself. Like the test, I did the test and I answered the 60 questions dead honestly. And let me tell you, it's like simple things like, do you like fixing the things?
Like fix a cupboard or...
Do you like to fix a cupboard? Then I said, no. Do I like this? And then I didn't, because normally you can tell what this thing's gonna tell you. I honestly didn't think it was gonna get to me. It spat out, I need to be in the arts. I don't know how it got me.
Yeah.
But it's dead accurate as to that's why I'm so happy doing what I'm doing. But yeah, go and have a look.